A British woman working with lepers in the slums of one of India's biggest cities says she's almost raised enough money to build a leprosy clinic. It's part of an extraordinary 7-year story in which Leah Pattison, who we'll talk to in just a moment, has battled prejudice to bring care to an outcast community at the cost of her own health. You have, of course, paid the ultimate price, and you've said your worst feeling about knowing that you'd got leprosy was telling your family. What did they say?
I phoned my parents 3 days before my birthday, and my mother said, "Can I phone you back after 5 minutes?" And when I got their telephone call afterwards, my father came on the phone and just said, "Well, what can I say, Leah? I'll have your bell and stick ready for you." So I mean, obviously it's extremely shocking for them, but I think these days they never get surprised with the numerous conditions that I bring back with me from India. But it was a big shock initially, obviously.
Did it in any way strengthen your resolve to work against the spread of this disease?
It did. I mean, I can never say that I know exactly how these women are feeling. Although they had leprosy and I had leprosy, my society accepts any condition. My family accepted whatever was going to happen to me. I knew that I would never get ostracized. But it did, in some ways, bring me just that little bit closer, and yes, it did strengthen my resolve.
Tell us a little bit now, Leah, about this leprosy clinic that you're hoping to open. Just how close are you now to achieving your dream?
We're halfway there, and I think what I'd really like to say primarily, rather than give you big figures about how we're going to get to this clinic, just to give a little bit of perspective on how far money can go in India. £60 can change a woman's life. A woman with leprosy who's begging with no self-respect, no respect within her community, she can set up her own small business, get her self-respect back, and be an active working member of the community. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to dispel the myths and the bad images of leprosy and get these women to have their own self-respect. And that's a basic human need.
Leah, just one last...
Think of that, £60.
It does seem such a small amount. You're quite right to point that out to us in our incredibly privileged life here in Europe. But talking about you in particular, Leah, if you could turn the clock back 10 years, would you do it all again?
Yeah, definitely.
A British woman working with lepers in the slums of one of India's biggest cities says she's almost raised enough money to build a leprosy clinic. It's part of an extraordinary 7-year story in which Leah Pattison has battled prejudice to bring care to an outcast community at the cost of her own health. We'll be speaking to Leah live from Nagpur in just a moment. First, though, here is her story.
And Leah Pattison joins us live from Nagpur in eastern India. A very good afternoon to you.
Hello. Well, hi. Thank you very much.
Leah, when do you think your clinic will finally be built?
I don't know. I'm hoping that maybe after another year we'll have our clinic. But actually, can I just put something to you and to the viewers who are watching this, that although the clinic is something that we are working towards, if I give you a figure like £60 and tell you that that figure can transform a woman's life, a woman who through leprosy has been forced to live on the streets and beg without self-respect and dignity, with £60 she can set up her own business, get her self-respect back, and also be an active member of the community. So this is something that I'm really trying to focus people's attentions on, and this is something that myself and my colleagues here actually see what £60 can do, how it can work. So let's see. I mean, I'm hoping a year will be the time when we get our clinic.
And presumably this will probably be the first of many clinics to help leprosy sufferers. Yeah,
our plan is that although we'd like to keep our projects relatively small and very neat and tidy and well run, that Nagpur is just one of many cities in India where we feel that our work and our services would be very much needed. So that's our plan, to set up many clinics all over India.
Just looking at Richard Bestick's report, we saw an example, if you like, of the terrible discrimination that leprosy sufferers face once they have this disease, that they're forced to live out on the street as beggars.
Yes. That's true. And the difference between men and women is that even in India today, still women are economically dependent on their families and then on their husbands. So if you have a disease like leprosy and you're thrown out, then these women have no alternative. Men with leprosy are still accepted as members of their family, members of society. So women, they don't have a say, they don't have the opportunity to earn money. So most of these women turn to begging. And that's the difference between men and women, I feel, and I've observed in leprosy. So many of these women are forced to do unthinkable things, even prostitution.
Do you feel that your work where you are has really opened the eyes of the local population to the difficulties that women afflicted with leprosy face and indeed the difficulties for sufferers generally?
Yeah. Women with leprosy, women in India generally have difficulties, as I've explained to you. Economically, they're dependent on their families. But women with leprosy face unthinkable problems. They hide their condition because they're frightened to tell their husbands for fear that their husbands will divorce them or throw them out. In hiding their condition, it progresses, it gets worse. They don't seek treatment early and they get more advanced leprosy. So, you know, women with leprosy have this different set of complicated problems. And it just needs education, and it just needs somebody going in, speaking to these women, speaking to the family members, and that's all it takes, really. And somebody just being there to listen to their problems, because nobody's interested to hear these women's problems. Their neighbours aren't interested. They're an embarrassment to their neighbours, to society, to the family unit. So we feel that our main job is that we're there to listen to their problems and to be a support mechanism in that way.
We heard from Richard Bestick's report that you yourself contracted leprosy. How is your health now?
My health is okay. I go home every year with some new condition. So my parents are quite used to the whole thing. But certainly I haven't had anything worse than leprosy. It was a shocking thing at the time, obviously. But no, I try and look after my health, but no guarantees here, I'm afraid.
Leah, how many more years do you think you'll stay in India? Will you leave when your work is complete, or will you set the foundations which others can build upon?
It's a very difficult question to answer, actually, because, you know, this is a journey that I'm undertaking at the moment. I don't know where this journey's taking me, but I know that I'm very committed to what I'm seeing and what I'm doing. If I say 10 years from now, okay, 10 years from now, 15 years, I have a suspicion that I'll be still doing this 20, 25 years down the line. But it's an unknown, it's a journey where I don't know where the end is taking me, but there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that I have to be doing this. I have to be here in India, involved with these women. So let's see.
Leah Pattison, we wish you well and every success in your work. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.